Hello zusammen and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another Q&A session. As a matter of fact, these have really turned out to be fun for us. It's just very entertaining. It's almost like we're interacting directly. However, if you really did want to interact with us directly, you could come to the Sunday meetings on Patreon. That helps support the channel, helps provide the equipment that you cannot see around the camera. I want to point out very quickly that hopefully you've seen an improvement in the quality of our videos, particularly the sound. That's because some folks, or a particular folk, was kind enough to donate that equipment to us. So thank you for that help. It absolutely pushes the channel forward. Having said that, my lovely co-host is ready to go, so let's jump into it.
All right, how's it going, guys? We're going to start out this episode with a question from, I cannot pronounce his name. I know I'm going to butcher it. Yisroel Simcha.
Yisroel Simcha.
Yeah, I may have said that correctly. I don't know. I'm sure he'll let us know.
Begins with yo, right? No, ye.
Ye.
All right.
Yeah.
Hello, ye.
What do you wish you did different when you moved to Europe?
Is that directed at me or you, or both?
Probably both. I mean, the first part of the question is, wish you only the best, your past is your past, and you need to be allowed to put it behind you.
Absolutely correct.
But then he wants to know, what do you wish you might have done different? Probably you, because you came here first. And
Okay.
then I'll answer for me. So.
Yeah. Because I'm interested to hear what you're going to say you do differently, because hopefully you're not going to say you moved to another city and avoided me. I mean, which is what you say off camera.
Time will tell.
For me personally, I think it's a pretty simple answer. When I came over here, as far as I know, I was the first person to do it. There may have been others that just kept quiet about it. I don't know. But I was terrified that the Americans were like directly on my heel, that at any moment they were going to just pop out of a side alley and snatch me and take me back to the U.S. So I went into the asylum process. I went through, that took several years. And, it ended in my favor. But if I had to do it all over again, I would have come to Germany directly. I would have found a job in Hamburg, because Hamburg in the north of Germany is the first place that I landed. I would have just gotten a job and settled my life in Hamburg. Now, obviously, that would have not prevented me, but it would have changed a lot of good things that happened for me in the future. I've made a lot of excellent friends here in Germany. I joined a flying club, and I fly with them almost every weekend. And maybe I still would have done those things in Hamburg.
Maybe not.
And maybe not. I don't know. The one thing I would have done differently, I think, I would have just come here and gotten a job.
Yeah. For me, the only thing I would have changed is during my downtime, while I was waiting for my permits to come through, I would have gone to language school, and I would have used that time wisely and really improved my language, because at that point, having a much higher language level really can open up a lot of doors and opportunities for employment and schooling, when you're here. So that's why we make it a point now to tell everybody to learn, German if you're coming to Germany, French if you're going to go to France, or whatever. It will definitely help you. It cannot hurt you. So use your time now, if you are planning on coming to Europe, to at least get a foothold on whatever language it is that you need. Just because you speak English, and most people here speak English, doesn't mean they're still going to just let you go because of English. It doesn't work that way. They're still going to want you to speak the native language.
Especially for the better jobs.
Yeah.
For the better jobs, and to really get socially acclimated. Let me piggyback on what you just said for a second. This morning I got up pretty early, and I was answering comments on YouTube. And somebody had asked me, how long did it take me to learn the German that I speak now? And Justin and I work in the same office, and he can tell you that at work I speak German a good bit. And I hope he would say that he thinks I'm fluent. The first 2 years that I was here, I did not make a concerted effort to learn German. I was in the immigration process, and nobody there spoke German, so there was 0 point in me learning. And then the next 2 years that I was here, I spent a lot of time trying to improve my job, moving forward in my job, and I did start going to language school, but it really was not until my fourth or fifth year when I joined my flying club, to mention them again, and started socializing with Germans, started socializing with people that I met in language school, that my German really took off. That was the difference for me. But part of succeeding here in Germany is acclimating to the culture and making friends. And I mean friends outside of just those who've come over here because of the registry. Meet people. That's the whole point of coming over here, is living. And one of the best ways you can learn new people, get to know new people, is by meeting them in language school. So I totally endorse what Justin just said.
This next question comes from Stephen J. It says, the question I think is most important to most people thinking about this is, how much money do I need? I'm assuming, how much money do you need to come over here, I guess, because once you're here, it doesn't really matter. But, well, we used to say maybe $6,000, $8,000 would suffice, but after having gone through it, I think a more realistic figure would be at least $10,000 or euros. I mean, either one. You don't have to bring that in cash necessarily in your wallet, but you do need to have access to it. So whether that's through a credit line or through a direct bank account that you have access to in the US, you will need to have money to cover your life expenses while you're here. Because you're going to have to pay for rent, you're going to have to pay for food, transportation, you're going to need a cell phone, so you're going to have to pay for a SIM card and utilities. And you have to
And
pay
transportation.
yeah, all of that without having an income. So you don't know how long it could be until you start working. It could be 3 months, 6 months, some cases a year, or almost two that we've seen. So it's, you want to make sure you can cover yourself while you're waiting.
And of course, keep in mind, forgive me for jumping in,
Mm-hmm.
it's also going to depend on your personal circumstances. And where you're living in Germany. Some people have had no problem going through in like 30 days. We've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, we've got one guy waiting right now, probably creeping up on 2 years.
Yeah, that's what I was
Now
thinking.
his situation's complicated. And the German government has had no problem in allowing him to stay here while trying to sort that out. So it's going to also depend on the quality of your living. How do you want to live while you're here? Now, I'm going to make a video, maybe I'll film it today, maybe tomorrow, on the new opportunity visa. This opportunity visa is going to be, I think, a very good solution for an awful lot of you. Because at that point, all you need to get a 1-year visa extendable to 3 years is to have some kind of job contract here in Germany. And it doesn't have to be full-time. If you have a part-time contract, which is 20 hours per week, that is enough to get this visa and get into Germany. At that point, regardless how long it takes you to get a full-time job, regardless of how long it takes you to actually get, the Aufenthaltstitel, the plastic identity card that German government issues, regardless of how long it takes, you'll be getting an income of some sort from the beginning, from the day you land in Germany. I'm going to make a separate video on that and go over the details, but he's right, 10,000 if you have no prospects. But if you can get a job offer, even part-time, before you get here, that solves a lot of problems. I think that's going to take a
Yeah, that
big
would
burden
certainly
off of
help.
people.
If you're fortunate enough to have a job offer before you get here, then you'll
But
be
it
just
can be
fine.
done, especially part-time. Under the opportunity visa, I think companies here are going to be much more willing
Right.
to offer contracts to Ausländer.
Alrighty.
Ausländer, foreigners. Sorry. I don't want to just use these words at work so much. I don't think.
Okay. Next one from Adam Fazari.
Hello, Adam.
Says, hi, Stephen. Very glad to hear you are doing well. Here are a couple questions I would like to ask. A couple questions. It's always
What is it, like 20 of
it's
them?
always a couple questions. What are some of the basic facts that people on the U.S. registry should know when traveling to Europe to start a new life?
First and foremost, Get over your fear. Get over that propaganda that has been drilled in your head that you are worthless, that you have no prospects, that the world hates you, that you can't have friends. That is bullshit.
Pucky.
I don't know if I can I say bullshit on YouTube? Well, I just did.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I just said it. It's bullshit because you're going to find out when you get here that you held yourself back for no reason. Absolutely no reason. Because oh my God, the things they tell you about you yourself while you're on the registry, even those who get off the registry, if you've got a certain type of crime, if you've got a sex-related crime, boy, they try to make you feel worthless. They try to make you feel like no country wants you, that nobody wants to be your friends. That is bullshit. And the number one thing you've got to get over is your fear of coming here and your fear of reaching out to other people. I mean, there's still going to be obstacles. Let's not kid ourselves. There's always going to be, a nut job out there. I made no reference to France. There's always a nut job out there, but generally speaking, you're not going to get that out of your head. Number one thing. Your thoughts?
Well, I would say you don't need to go to asylum. I know everyone out there is thinking that's the route, that's the ticket. It's not. It really is not.
Yep.
Yeah, and after that, when you are here just living your life, you don't have to worry about the boogeyman, jumping out from behind a bush to snatch you and take you back to the U.S. But I would make sure that you don't violate any laws when you leave the U.S. to come here. Leave cleanly, and then you can have a clean conscience when you're here. You can sleep well,
Yep.
and you don't have to worry about anything. You just move on. So, those are my thoughts on that
Yeah.
one.
And since you're on that topic, we've been talking to the lawyer recently, and the one thing he wants us to emphasize in these videos, and at some point I need to get him in one of these videos, deregister. I think virtually every state now allows you to go there and tell them I'm moving out of the country. I'll be gone by January 15th. And that's the end of it. Then you get on a plane, come over here, move on with your life. Nobody's coming for you. There won't be an arrest warrant for you. And that allows you to travel back and forth to the United States as you please. Keep in mind that if you do travel back to the United States during the time that you're there, you will have to re-register and live under the rules of the registry, which is one of the reasons I won't go back, because I'm not going to go through that nonsense again. But deregister. It is as easy
Just
as we're
follow
making
the
it
law.
sound.
I
Just
mean,
follow the law.
I know it sucks, but you do what you need to do everything safely. And then once you're here, you're fine. So. Okay, that was a good question.
Yeah, it was a good question.
He still got more.
Okay.
What motivated you to speak out against the U.S. Sex Offender Registry, Stephen? Shouldn't be
Because
too
it's
difficult.
unfair.
I mean, yeah, there's so many reasons.
I did have a lot of reasons, but I am a person who believes fundamentally in fairness. And I know the world's not fair. I know that. I know that's a bit of a dream on my part. But even at work, I think all of my employees would say that I'm fair even when they don't like it, even when it goes against them. They know I thought through it. They know that I checked the rules, I checked the law, I checked the facts. And the registry is, in my opinion, fundamentally unfair. Now, I was raised in a fundamentalist right-wing Christian home. And one of the things that we did every night was we read the Bible. And I attended a religious high school. And they always talked about this idea of forgiveness, that Jesus taught forgiveness, that Christians fundamentally believe in forgiveness. And my question is, after someone has been convicted of a sex-related crime and they've served their punishment, where the hell is the forgiveness? Where the hell is it? In the book I wrote, one of the books I wrote, I talked about this idea that when you catch your child stealing a cookie out of a cookie jar, if you smack him on the ass, tell him it was wrong, the kid understands what the limits are. The kid even loves you for explaining the limits and enforcing them. But if you take that same child and you take a belt to their ass and you leave them bloody with welts, that child is learning a completely different lesson than the one you intended. And if 5 months later you decide to spank the child again because of the cookie he stole 5 months earlier, that's not punishment. That's punishment without end. And what do? You keep punishing him till he's 20, 25, 30, 40 for something he did when he was 8? It's ridiculous. And I think there has to be a limit. So I'm already getting angry thinking about it. There has to be a limit to punishment. I have said multiple times that I understand why certain laws are in place. They need to be in place to protect the most vulnerable of our citizens. I get that. I don't maybe necessarily agree with the extremes to which they go, but I understand the law. And I have no problem with police enforcing the law. I have no problem with prosecutors seeking punishment of those who have committed those crimes. And I don't have a problem with the courts or the prison system that punishes them accordingly. But what I am saying is, damn it, there has to be an end to it. At the end of my original prison sentence, I would think a model inmate. When I was supposed to have been released, on the day of my release, they told me I wasn't going home, that a new law had come into effect. Now, keep in mind, this was 1999. A new law had come into effect in Florida, which allowed the government to forget the sentence and to continue to punish those who they deemed were too dangerous to be released back into society. In other words, my punishment was literally erased and extended. What the hell? There has to be an end. And it really, really angers me. To this day, it angers me. And what is my option? To be quiet about it? I'm supposed to what? Sit down and be a good boy and keep my mouth shut? Hell no, it's not right. And if it's not right, and it seemed to me that politicians are afraid to say it. Politicians know these laws are bullshit. They know. But they're afraid to do it. And I didn't hear anybody else speaking up and pushing back against these laws. Okay, if nobody else will do it, damn it, I will.
Fair
Sorry
enough.
for the rant, but
Well, that's okay.
still angers me.
That was a good answer to a very good question. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you for the question.
And that's going to have to do it for this episode. We are out of time.
fast.
Yeah,
That was fast.
Time does go by very quickly when you're having so much fun as we are. But we do have to get ready for work, so we have to end this today.
Yeah.
But we will have plenty more coming up in the next several weeks. We have lots and lots of stuff for you. We've been able to put out videos twice a week, and we're going to try to keep that up as long as we possibly can. So, if you like what you see, if you like hearing from us and you want to get in touch with us, feel free to join Patreon. We do have meetings every Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And you can communicate with the group. You can chat with people. You can ask questions. You can talk with us. And we also have our own private Discord server. You can sign up and text your heart away 24 hours a day.
And it's easier in those environments to talk about your
Sure is.
specific case instead of trying to do it through the comment section of YouTube. It's a lot easier for everybody.
Okay, guys. Until next time.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.